Hey guys, this is Aiden, and in case you guys didn't see it, I reviewed SAO Season 1, so if you haven't seen that already, please be sure to see it. Please be sure to go seek it out. I think I'll have it linked in the description below, and I'll probably, annotate it on the screen or something if I remember to. I sometimes forget these things. Actually, a lot of times I forget these things, because I've only annotated something in a video once. Wow, that was lazy. But yeah, let's get into SAO Season 2. So this is, for me, is what I think Season 2 is the Fairy Dance arc, which is episodes 15 through 25 of SAO, as it's listed on Netflix. So, sure, let's get into the 10 categories that I made, because I switched one of them out because I felt the love story wasn't as big and wasn't as important to this season, so I switched out the love story for a different category. So, yeah, let's go ahead and review this season. So 10 categories I picked, each of them is kind of like SAO Season 1. Each of them will count for 10 points, and overall all of them will add up to 100, and whatever score each of them add up to of what I give them will tally up to a grade. So let's get into the first category. Like before, this one is animation, which is still gorgeous. The animation's amazing, all the scenes in ALO, all the flying, all the fights. I remember there was like a scene where Kirito turned into like some giant monster, didn't he? I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly because that scene was kind of forgettable. But that was weird, and yeah, that happened. And SAO Season 2 did have amazing animation, as usual, like Season 1. The animation's still gorgeous. And A1 Productions always does a great job with these animation, like I said before. So now let's get into the voice work, like Season 1, and let's go the dub version, because I speak English, I don't speak Japanese. I just wanted to listen to English from my personal enjoyment, and then after I realized SAO 2 didn't have a dub version yet, I was frustrated, and then I decided to just deal with it and watch it anyway. But for dubbed, I gave it an 8 out of 10 because, just like Season 1, it had some moments in the dialogue and some noises the characters made that felt a little too foreign in a show that doesn't feel foreign at all in nature or anything. The SAO feels like it's an American show in the way that the stories run, in the way that the characters are and everything. It feels like an American show. It doesn't feel like it's Japanese to me, which is why I loved the dub version, because it just made it feel even more like an American show for me. Which is, of course, a great way to get people into anime, by showing them this, because they'll hear English, and they'll see art styles that don't seem that foreign to them. Yeah, and then let's get into the next category, character development. I gave a 10 out of 10 because, unlike Season 1, there aren't many side characters. The only two major characters in this season are Kirito and Lifa, which is, of course, Suguha, his cousin/sister thing. I'll get into that later in the review. That was weird. That was really weird. But the developments, of course, is great, because we learn that Suguha has put up with a lot of things for Kirito, or Kazuto, as he's known in the real world. She's put up with a lot of things, and they have... You get the feeling that they don't know each other that well, because as soon as Kazuto found out that Suguha was not indeed his sister, was actually his cousin, you could tell that he was distant, and he said that he was avoiding the real world by going into video games, and that's why he loves video games so much. And so that immediately developed Suguha's character as someone who didn't really get to be raised with, didn't really know her cousin/brother or whatever that well. And I think that was a good way to introduce us to her character, because she, I think, is one of the most interesting female characters in the show. But of course, not the most interesting, because there's also Shinon and Yuki, because we'll get into that later. Of course, seasons from now we'll find that out. So yeah, the character development was much better than SAO Season 1, which I think it was good that they improved. And then the action, 8 out of 10, because some of them felt a little repetitive, and it kind of got, at this point when I watched it, it kind of bugged me a little bit more that Kirito, the almighty god, can do anything. Kind of bugged me that he could get so far with these battles and everything. The action didn't really feel as fluid and interesting in this season as it did in SAO 1, for me at least personally, because it focused a lot less on the sword and like the awesomeness of like being able to wield swords and like fight and stuff with it. Here, this is an example. I'll just grab this. And like, of course, the powering up the blade and then running towards someone with it. Of course, they had that a little bit in SAO 2 as well in Season 2, but this wasn't as prominent. It wasn't as cool when it was shown. So I had some slight flaws with action. The action in Season 1 was perfect, so I think that's why I was a little bit hard on the action this season, because it wasn't nearly as good. And then the score, I give it 10 out of 10. Again, whoever does the score, I don't remember their name, but they do a great job. The score's always great for SAO. And of course, like Season 1, the same theme, wherever Kirito is doing something awesome, there's always this one theme, this one single song. It's always repeated. It might be changed a little bit, but it's always the same song. And it's always in a scene where Kirito is like fighting the odds with someone, and it's always a really epic moment. They always play that song. That's what they do with that in SAO. It's like a recurring theme at this point. And then let's get into the theme, which is like the theme song, the closing. I gave it a 9 out of 10 because while the opening is really good, the closing, not nearly as good. The closing was, it's still good music, but it just, compared to the Season 1 closing, was not as good. And compared to the SAO Season 4 closings, not nearly as good either. Jesus, those are amazing, those closings. Okay, so next let's get into the characters. 7 out of 10, because they introduced this side character who was kind of in love with Sukuha, but we only got like 2 scenes with him, and he wasn't really prominent in the finale. He was a little bit, but I very easily forgot about him. And yeah, there are some other side characters that were, of course, not prominent much at all. But it didn't detract from the story, but they just, I don't know, the characters didn't really cling on to me as much this time. And especially because Asuna is a side character this time. That bugged me so much, because in the Season 1, they focused, sorry, I just dropped my pen. They focused so much on her and Kirito. And I really hate her role in this, because this bugs me so much. And this will go into the story as well. She is literally trapped in a cage waiting for Kirito to save her. That just bugged me, because at least in Season 1 there were some moments where she was awesome, and she was a great character, she could defend herself, but in this one, she's literally captured and she can't do anything. It bugged me so much. Of course, in the finale, she did something-ish. I don't know. I don't know. She got close to doing something. She tried to escape multiple times. That's a good thing, I guess. I made her a little bit strong-ish. Yeah, the story, just there are too many of those things that I just didn't like as much. That just bugged me too much. So story, 6 out of 10. And then the real-world scenes, as I'm talking about the scenes with Kirito and Asuna, and of course the scenes where Kirito visits Asuna in the hospital and that stuff, those scenes I give an 8 out of 10, because, of course, a lot of the scenes between Suguha and Kirito were weird. Some of them weren't. And then, of course, all the scenes where Kirito went to visit Asuna in the hospital, those were all great scenes. So, yeah, that's an 8 out of 10. Then the final category, the finale. 8 out of 10. And by the finale, I'm counting episodes 24 and 25. Because I didn't really count 25 as a finale by itself, because it didn't really conclude the overall story by itself. So I included episode 24 too, because, oh my god. It's an 8 out of 10 because of that scene. You'll know what I'm talking about when you watch this season. There's this scene in episode 24. I'm not going to talk about it because it just bugs me so much. It's just so uncomfortable to watch. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say about it, because if you want to watch SAO, watch it. I'm not going to spoil it for you, even though the scene's so uncomfortable to watch. But yeah, I forgot to mention that the theme is Innocence by Air Y. So, I don't know. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Air Y is how it's spelled. But yeah, that's my review of SAO Season 2. Overall, all the scores I gave to it, I'll tally up to an 84 out of 100, which is a B. So yeah, a little bit not as good as the first season, but actually, now to think about it, with the ratings I gave all the seasons, this is the worst season. Okay. So, stay tuned for Season 3, which is the Phantom Bullet arc. Oh, that arc's awesome. I can't wait to get into that review. So, remember, if this is your first time watching me, or whatever, if you like this video, just please be sure to just click the like button, just like it, or comment, tell me what anime I should watch next, or just, if you want to initiate a conversation, like what you thought about my review, what you disagreed with, or whatever, just don't be mean. Don't be a troll, just be like, civilized-ish. Just, like, be like, I kinda disagreed with what you said because of this reason, but I completely understand your reason. And then, if you like that, I'll respond and say, oh, well, that's okay, I understand what you mean, I just disagree. I hate that YouTube doesn't have civilized comments, because there are always those people that go, you suck because I disagree with you! Troll! That's an awful impression. But people are like that all the time in the comments below. I really don't want it to be like that on here. I really want it to be more connected. I wanted the viewers to be able to talk to me if they want to be able to just comment down below, tell me what you thought of my videos, and yeah. And also, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe as well, because I have 26 subscribers at the time that I'm filming this. And I like the people subscribe to me. That's a really good thing, especially because half of them are people I don't know. Of course, half of them are people at school that somehow discovered my YouTube channel. But yeah, if you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, guys, adios, amigos.